Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your television sets just yet. You are tuned in to the Backmarkers M99 GRAFX ARCA series here, showcasing the Round Here Entertainment 150 at Daytona, the opening race for Season 2 of the Backmarkers ARCA series. Just stay tuned, we'll be going live with qualifying very shortly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Backmarkers M99 GRAFX ARCA Series Season 2 opener. We're beginning this season strong at Daytona with the Round Here Entertainment 150. Thanks very much to Round Here Entertainment. They provide a platform for local and unsigned artists to be broadcast on multiple radio stations throughout Louisiana and nationwide. Tune in and you may just find your new favorite band. Find out more at www.roundhereshow.com. Round Here Entertainment. Listen local. Listen round here. I'm Rain Braun, joined here by my broadcast colleague Tyler Barnett, Season 1 champion.
Hey everybody. Uh, going off of your sponsor, this is yours, right? Around Here
Yes,
Entertainment.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
So how long have you been doing it for?
Well, it's been a production that we've had going since 2019, so it's been quite a while.
That's pretty cool. So, you already know where I'm going to go to find some new artists.
That's right.
I love music. I love music with a passion, man. It's one of my favorite things. Top 3 favorite things are racing, working out, and music. And learning about this Around Here Entertainment been a very, very big pleasure. So, thank you for sponsoring this race here, Rain.
No problem. Happy to do it.
Well, tonight we have the inaugural race of season 2. So this is going to be a pretty interesting one, I think. The biggest fields we've seen. There's 28 cars registered.
28. Wow, that is definitely a Backmarkers Archer series record, I think. Right?
Yeah, by
Holy
far.
cow, you guys. 28?
Whoa! Surprise drop in on the booth.
Surprise!
Matthew Johnson, Extreme Sim TV. How's it going?
Going good, man. Just got back home from being on the road. Figured I'd drop in and say hi before y'all officially got going here.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for dropping in. If you guys don't know, Matthew Johnson, he is the owner of this channel and is kind enough to let us use this channel for our backmarker racing stuff.
Yes, sir. I'd planned on doing a show over on Facebook with some late models, but ran out of time. Got back to I'll be over there doing that next week. So I'm gonna go watch the dome. Y'all have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go eat popcorn and watch 2 races at one time.
There you
All
go.
right, sounds good. Well, we hope that you can get at least one good race here at Daytona.
There you go, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much, Matthew.
So that was
All
pretty
right.
interesting. Celebrity drop-in.
A little celebrity drop in. Love to see that. All right. So tell me a little bit about the lineup we have here so far. I mean, looks like starting up first, we've got Dave Krajewski. Is that right? Or no, I'm definitely on somebody else here. Let's take a
We
look.
have
We have Kyle
Brian
Racinko
Robs.
is also out.
Michael Boyles is not here. Kyle Racinko, he is taking the green. Yeah, we got a pretty big field here tonight, obviously. 28 cars registered. I think I accidentally registered as one car too, so 27. We should have taken the green flag tonight, which is, once again, just a huge field, especially here at Daytona.
Absolutely.
As for expectations tonight, what do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people probably got a good feel for what a fuller field felt like. We had our practice sessions where the league was getting some practice in with one another and teams getting a chance to run with each other. But I think they learned a lot from this practice race we just did, and I can imagine that we're gonna see a probably a renewed focus on not ending up running into each other and trying not to incur the big one heading into the last lap. I know Michael Gudger is definitely still holding a little close to the chest that he ended up taking out Logan Monteith, and I believe that was also Jacob Bradley that he ended up taking out right at the end of the last race to end up winning it. So you can imagine, we're probably going to see a little cleaner lines, hopefully, from a lot of people. But at the same time, we've doubled our field since that race. So really, there's no telling.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a wild card. I mean, once again, it's Daytona. That's all you can really say about this track is that these tracks, these plate tracks, are just so unpredictable. But yet, I feel like they could be so predictable at the same time. There's going to be a big wreck somewhere. It's going to take out a lot of people, and it's going to be more towards the end half of the race. But otherwise, for a winner, you never know who you're going to get. Even though the heavy hitters are usually always up front, no matter somehow, some way, they always end up stiff in the front somehow.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. Oh, it appears my graphics are not appearing on overlay. This is why we take a look at the stuff while we're running. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Why don't you talk about Tanner Prater a little bit? He's a rookie start here for Dumpster Fire Racing.
Yeah, Tanner Prater, he looked pretty solid during his during the clash on Tuesday. He looked fairly solid. He got into an incident or two, but you know, learning mistakes. But otherwise, yeah, he didn't have any big red flags to me. It looked like he's going to be up front. Sorry, I was listening to the race control real quick and making sure they didn't need help. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be running up front with the big guys, and I think he has a shot tonight.
Yes, indeed. And we have who we have following him out here.
Looks like Clifton Simmons. Clifton Simmons is one of my drivers at Backmarker Racing. Last season, he didn't make all the races, unfortunately, but got a top 10 to his name and a couple of bad luck races here and there, but otherwise, he was up inside the top 10, and I even saw him inside the top 5 every once in a while, so I have big aspirations for him this season. I do think he's going to have that luck turn around for him, and I do think he's going to be at least top 10 contender every single week.
There we go.
Next up, we have Damien. What do you got to say about Mr. Damien Marquez?
Damien Marquez, our resident Argentinian. Man, what a trip this guy is. On Dumpster Fire Racing, he finished 10th in Season 1 point standings. He finished in the top 10, right at the cutoff line. He is definitely a bombastic personality. Very interesting. Beautiful singer, of course. And, I mean, you know that if Damien is on your race card, there's bound to be some wild things happening.
Whether it's for the good or for the bad, everybody loves him. He was voted most popular driver last season, and I know he got into it a couple times, and a couple people were a little upset with him, but even then, you can't help but love the guy. He's just awesome.
Absolutely. Let's see who we got teeing up after Damien here in qualifying. Looks like... trying to see
It
here.
looks like Tanner just finished his lap. Clifton just finished his.
Let's see what this lineup looks like here. Down pit road.
Ooh, it looks like we got another rookie, Jay Bast. He's one of your guys, right?
That's right, Jay Bast, man. This cat is on a different level, man. He is incredible. I was watching him earlier run through with Dustin Bally, who we saw do a fantastic job on Tuesday during the practice race. And them two were tight, running each other. They were so fast, in fact. I don't mean to, make you feel a certain way, but they did happen to pass tandem drafting team of Jackson Samsel and Nick Seraph on their way shooting through practice. I'm just saying, I'm not saying they were running at 100%, but I'm saying this is definitely a strong pairing that we're going to have to look out for with Jay Bast and Dustin Bally. They seem to have each other's numbers, and the fact that they're both on off-the-wall racing, I think it's going to make them a pretty viable threat running this race.
I agree. I mean, just from what I've heard, like the confidence that Jay Bass radiates, he's going to be pretty solid, as well as just watching Dustin and knowing that Dustin has Jay's trust and vice versa. Dustin, his showing on Tuesday was incredible. Pole in his first race, and he had a shot to win it. He led the most laps, tied with Logan Monteith, which is probably one of the best in the league right now.
Very impressive.
That's a good showing. Even if it's only Daytona, it's a good showing.
Absolutely. Dustin Bally was definitely an out-of-left-field newcomer for us here. Just showing up and showing out instantly. The guy absolutely showed that he is ready to compete here, and he's coming for, not only to help us win the, the team championship, as we're definitely looking to try to do, but also his own personal championship, become the Season 2 champion. And I think that he's definitely got it in him.
I definitely think so, too. He radiates a lot of confidence. The only kryptonite I think he has is Mr. Steve Loving.
Steve Loving, yes indeed. Is Steve Loving up right now?
No, but I just think it's worth the talk about.
Yeah, that's true. So Steve Loving and Dustin Bally, they happen to have a rivalry that extends outside of the league. Steve, of course, ran last season, had a phenomenal finish for only running the last 7 races of the season. I believe finishing in 13th. I could be wrong on that. Very, very phenomenal run, constantly in the top 5s. And apparently Dustin Bally was brought into this league by him. They have a very competitive relationship, a very Earnhardt Gordon type relationship. So it's going to be very interesting.
Very interesting relationship, to say the least.
Nick Serif laying down a good lap there. It looks like Nick, of course, he was running with us a good bit of season 1.
He touches the wall.
Taps the wall a little bit. Looks like he's still okay. Just a little tap, love tap. He's good. You know what? It happens. This might not be the heater anymore, but you know what? He held it together. You love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like he was gonna pancake that wall a little bit harder, but good job keeping it out of the fence there. But looks like on the end of pit road right now, we got Mr. Moon Pie himself.
Mr. Moon Pie himself. That could only be one man, Mr. Sean Johnson.
That is correct.
To tee up here.
This is another one of my drivers. I hired him very, very. I have a lot of confidence in him, to say the least. The only thing I don't have confidence in is his crew chief. So last season, he ran inside the top 5 quite a bit, which we may have more people this season, but top 5 is still really, really impressive in this league, especially when you have heavy hitters like Adam Boyles and Logan Monteith and Steve Loving and Michael Boyles, as well as just so many other people that I've seen up inside the top 5 consistently. Being able to run up there is just very, very confidence-inspiring, I should say.
Absolutely. I mean, I think consistently we saw Sean Johnson do phenomenal work last season. He finished 6th in points overall for season 1. An absolutely phenomenal driver. It looks like he's running, I think, probably the only Pontiac on your entire team there.
I think so, but this is why I opened up the GM, and that's why I didn't fire Jackson again.
Not this time, no. Man did not want to run Dodge.
No, he did not. He was very anti-Dodge, and I was anti-him after that, but we ended up getting him back, and I just said, okay, whatever. You guys can run all Chevy, all GM manufacturers, or all American, to say the least.
Let's see if we can get best times lined up here. Double check. Yes, indeed. So it looks like provisional pole is sitting with Dustin Bally with a 49.55. Is that right?
Yeah, that's looking like it. I was looking at the same thing, and that just goes to show.
That does not surprise me. It would not surprise me whatsoever to see him come out and have a second pole. He, of course, captured the pole for the practice race on Tuesday. I said that he was a favorite of mine, that if he ended up getting the pole this time, I think we'd see probably most laps let out of him once again here for this race. And, I was talking to them before, giving the team a pep talk, and I told we're 3 men currently running right now. We're a man down, waiting on Austin Holbrook to come back for next race. But we have Charles Broderick, Dustin Bally, and Jay Bass, who we've been talking about. And I was telling them, I'm really looking forward to seeing all 3 of your names in the top 5 tonight, so they know what they need to aim for.
Considering I told my 4 guys that I want to see them in the top 5, it seems like a little bit of a confliction there, so we're going to see who ends up better here.
Oh, well, you know what? As long as we can keep vintage out of there, right?
That's right. And unlike NASCAR, we are able to show our biases.
Oh yeah, this is that's the best part. You want your broadcasters to have a little bit of bite to them. Now we got Adam Boyles popping up here. Adam Boyles' heartbreaking end to his season last season. Why don't you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, he was on fire those first 7 races, but those last 3, he burnt down, to say the least. I want to say, what was the race before the All-Star race? It was Nashville Super Speedway, right? Right. Fairgrounds. It was Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds was before, yeah.
Yeah, so at Nashville Fairgrounds, he joined late and was just stuck in the back after a very, very caution-filled race, unfortunately. And then the week after that, the next race week, it was the All-Star race, which he won it. But the week after that, he was running very well at Indy, but he hit the wall, pancaked the wall coming out of, I think it was turn 4, and that ruined his race, and he finished way deep in the pack. And then finally he sped at Homestead, and that ruined his chances of taking home P3 in the championship, and actually gave it to Michael Gudger, who one of the most improved drivers from last season. I'm excited to see what he can do, especially capping off a win on Tuesday night.
Awful scenario, losing by, you said it was 3 points, is that right?
Yeah, it was 3 points, and that's only 3 positions here, so that's unfortunate. He could have definitely made those up in 2 of those 3 races.
But if there's one thing about Adam Boyles, you know, finishing 4th isn't anything to scoff at. That guy will be running front pack this entire race, unless anything happens to him, and hopefully it doesn't, like it did in the practice race. Because you will see him run a very competitive line here for this entire run. And it looks like he turned into a provisional 5th place. He tied pretty on the nose with Clifton Simmons. Very impressive.
Whew.
And only a 100th of a second behind Sean Johnson, Mr. Moonpie. It's a very tight race up there in the 2nd through 5th run. Very, very interested to see how the rest of this shakes out. I mean, isn't it crazy how much of a field we still have left to go in here?
Yeah, I was kind of worried about the same thing. I know some people said speed it up a little bit, and I agree. I may have to step into qualifying here in a little bit, but we're going to see what the boys can do here. This is their first time doing this big of a field, and yeah, hopefully they get it all out.
Hey, you know what? I have the utmost faith in them as Charles Broderick comes in around here. Charles, with a very strong finish last season, showed up to every single race, and that will get you points. So Charles finishing with 12th. I believe, you know, he's looking to learn a lot, get a lot better at what he's doing. And he's got some great mentorship right now, trying to help push him to that level. I know that he's got his eyes set on trucks eventually. So, I mean, he's definitely wants to see himself get better in ARCA before he gets to that point. So, I mean, I could see him definitely making some improvements this season to drop out of that backfield and really start to make some moves and make a name for himself.
Yeah, he honestly impressed me last season. I was looking at his stats, and I think his average finish was 11th, which we had like an average of 16, 17 drivers per race. So he was beating 5, 6 people a race, and whether that was just pure brute force and pure will, or just actually he was catching on later in the race. I saw both of those things, and that's what happens when consistency pays off, and he was consistent for sure.
Now, right behind him as Charles comes around here to finish out his lap. Running a little bit of a slow one in the qualifying, but that can be a good thing. Oh, never mind. Just like that, Charles with a provisional 6th place. What a
Let's
run.
go.
Fantastic. What an impressive run. He had a very fast time all throughout practice. That's why he's qualifying so late here. What an impressive run there, but we got to talk about the man right here, Michael Gudger.
Yeah, Michael Gudger, he was our most improved driver last season, voted by everybody. All I can say is good things about the kid. He's very, very solid. He's very consistent, and he can be very clutch. I mean, he took 3rd place away from Adam Boyles, which is no easy feat.
In the last race, as a matter of fact.
By playing an epic strategy call, too. He pitted super, super late at Homestead, where everybody pitted about 15, 20 laps before. He went a lap down, was about 15th, I think, at one point, almost.
Yeah,
15th, maybe 16th.
Very back of the pack run at Homestead.
And drove up to 5th, just because those new tires helped out so much, and he took the big call, and he made it, and he ties!
He ties!
Wow!
An impressive, well, that is something you don't see every day. Tying the leader. Oh, man.
Wow!
What a 1-2. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. He did end up winning the practice race we had on Tuesday. So, I mean, super speedways have always been a strong suit for him. So you can imagine seeing him come out swinging like that. I just cannot believe we've had 2 different instances here of tied times. That's so impressive from this field.
Yeah, that is impressive. That just shows, once again, Michael is coming on with vengeance. He wants even better than 3rd place.
Dade Grajewski. Fortunately, it looks like I don't have the correct paint running for him, which makes me a little bit upset. But is he in the inverted Viagra scheme for you still?
No, he is in the Folger scheme.
Oh man,
he's going throwback.
That's what I was expecting. I was hoping to see, but unfortunately, Trading Paints has decided not to update that scheme. Let's see if I can give it an update real quick. and get some up-to-date schemes here if I can.
All right. I will be right back. I'm gonna hop into the other chat real quick, so I can tell these guys.
Yes, indeed. Go get 'em.
Bropes. And I'm just getting word that it is Bropes, and I pronounced it wrong. My bad.
Yep, it is Brobst.
I'll call you Brobst, brother.
All right, as we follow Dave Grajewski here, coming around.
Yeah, it is getting a little tight for time.
We still have so many people to go. We might just have to start sending them out.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop into the admin chat real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, looks like it's just you and me, folks. Refreshing the overlay here. Try to refresh some textures. Refresh the overlays that we have in, just to kind of get them fresh and running well for the race ahead. Dade putting down some decent laps, a little bit towards the back there, but, you know, he's running okay. We're heading over to Steve Loving now. Steve, absolutely, what can you say? The man had 7 starts last season, and 5 of those he finished in the top 5, and to put an extra emphasis on it, 6 of them were top 10. So there was only 1 outside of the top 10 finish for him the entirety of the last season in 7 starts. Coming in, I believe, finishing in 13th. He's running with Vintage Racing this season, really bringing it home for them. That team is looking to really, really get a twofer on that team championship. So, and just like that, look at how high up he flies, qualifying a provisional 3rd there. Absolutely phenomenal work from Steve Loving. As we see Logan Monteith head out, and I believe we also have some others on track right now. Let's see who we got. Jacob Bradley. Jacob Bradley, this is his first start this season in the Backmarkers M99 GRAFX ARCA series. He is a part of Mach 1 Racing alongside his teammate. Let's see here. Brady Powers in the number 55. That's right. So these guys, you know, they showed a lot of promise in the practice race that we held on Tuesday. They were hooked up with each other nonstop. At one point, I believe it was Brady Powers, or it might have been Jacob Bradley. One of them was a lap down, and he was just behind the other, pushing him into a second, first place situation. So, I mean, if they're willing to work that hard to get some good team run, you can only imagine what they're going to do whenever it comes down to actually getting up to an overall points championship. And just like that, as I'm talking about it, Jacob Bradley turning in a good lap, but Brady Powers finishing out provisional 4th, finishing a 100th of a second behind Steve Loving, which is no mean feat, I might add. Very, very impressive showing from him. Let's get back to Jacob Bradley as he finishes out on his here on his hot lap. Oh. There we go. Texture's back in. Very good. Very solid run here. We've got a couple of guys. I think we have right now back-to-back low schemes running. Logan Monteith, our Season 1 second place points finisher, the owner of Evil Empire Motorsports. He is running all the time at the top level. Logan is definitely one of the biggest threats to the championship this season. Whoa, and just like that, this is unbelievable. Can you... I am in awe. Jacob Bradley just laid down a heater for all time, beating out Dustin Bawley with a 49.51. What an unbelievable final time to take provisional pole. Wow, simply phenomenal work. That is not something I thought I saw coming as Ed Souse comes across the checkered flag there. Lays down a 49.57, tying Steve Loving. What is even happening in this race? I am over the moon with what we are currently seeing happen here as we try to finish up. Oh, what an unbelievable tie that is. And who do we have? Blake Hoppy just finished up his run. Tyler DeTalent out here with Evil Empire Motorsports. He averaged a finish of 7th place in only 2 starts last season. He only started twice, average finish of 7th. That's very impressive. I mean, you can only say one thing about it. It's very impressive. So, I mean, we look to see him do better things now that he'll be running the entire season this season and really bring something home, helping Evil Empire Motorsports get a really good run at that team championship this season. Who else we have out here? Looks like we got side-by-sides where you have to kind of rush along qualifying. A little bit of learning here. We haven't had a field this big ever at this point, so we're really trying to make sure we get everybody in here. It means some people are qualifying right alongside each other. It almost looks like an open qualify. With everybody just running and trying to get their best time. But the good thing about a super speedway is that everything can be made up on the track, so we're going to see, I'm sure, a lot happen in that department as Tyler DeTalent comes out. This top 10, I've got to tell you, is simply incredible to look at in terms of numbers. I mean, we have so many ties for time just in that section alone. So we switch over here to Blake Kelly with Racers Anonymous Motorsports. This is his first start here. This is his rookie season. And, you know, if Racers Anonymous is anything to go by based off of Abraham Kalufa's work, and I was watching them run together in practice, and I really couldn't believe how good they were drafting together and how fantastic they were running in tandem. It was the team of Ed Salz, Abraham Kalufa, and Robert Probst. Whoa, what a heater by Robert Probst. Definitely probably aided by some air around him, but what in the world? Wow, impressive. Hey, you know what? That's an unbelievable start for Robert Probst. He's an incredible driver. You know, you can't discount anything that might have, you know, say advantage. He finished 5th in points last season. He's an incredible driver. Let's see who else we've got out here as we're trying to finish up with the last few.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're talking about it right now, rerunning Robert. I'm okay with that.
Try to run him.
But
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Robert, like you said, is a great driver. He's one of my favorite people in this league. He's very sarcastic, very dry humor, but he's super consistent. You always see him up inside that top 5, top 6 area, whether Jackson and him get entangled, which we will have a counter on this season. Whether it's that or just some other bad luck and unfortunate events, he usually gets.
All right, as they kind of prepare, trying to figure it out. We don't really have a lot of time here in qualifying, so they're really trying to make sure of what they can do here, because Jacob Bradley did run a very impressive lap, as well as Dustin Bally holding down that early front, and Robert Probst did have a little bit of assistance just due to having a little bit better air, a little bit better drafting to get that time that he had. Again, no question of how good he is as to how he got there in the first place, but obviously pole position awards an extra point, and points matter a lot in this season.
Sorry, I got yanked.
Of course. Yep, just kind of explaining the whole reason we're even looking into what's going to happen here with the pole qualifying, how important it is because of the points system.
Yeah, this point system is brutal. If you make one mistake, looks like you take 4 steps back. Meanwhile, you could take 1 step forward. So you got to be consistent throughout the whole season. That's where I was. That's where I was fortunate, is I was able to qualify up front and just hold position.
Now I have a black screen here for iRacing. Just trying to see, is that what we should be looking at right now, or do I have an issue?
I'd say a black screen is fine because no cars out on track right now. We have Connor singing the national anthem, absolutely killing it.
All right, let's take a look here at the practice and qualifying results, rather. That is practice results. Qualifying results haven't populated. We'll just go ahead and show them here. Looks like our top 10, unless I'm incorrect here, is Robert Brobst with a very impressive 49.13. Jacob Bradley, who laid down an absolute heater of a lap. Then, of course, Dustin Bally, Michael Gudger, Steve Loving, Ed Salz, Brady Powers, Blake Kelly, Brian Brobst, very impressive outing for him here in his rookie start, and Sean Johnson. That rounds out our top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, I'm very excited to see what he could do this whole time. Him and Robert are cousins, so we're gonna see if this family battle comes into effect, or the family teammates. You know, maybe they help each other out.
We'll have to see. I do still have a black screen.
Yeah, we are gridding up right now.
Come on now, iRacing. What are we doing? See if I can get a refresh on her here.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm gonna go say a couple words of encouragement to all the boys real quick. I will be right back.
And we're having some technical difficulties here, so I'm going to go ahead and relaunch iRacing session before this actually gets started so we don't miss any of the actual action here. Just give me a moment while I get this all squared away.
And so the green flag drops, and a couple of slow starters up front.
Going live, just in the nick of time. Green flag. You'll love to see it.
Well, you know what? Look who we got hooked up on the bottom already. We got Dustin Bally as well as Steve Loving. Those two are the pair. We know them as the rivals as well as the interesting friends who just roast each other 24/7 and talk trash about each other. So we're going to see how these two work together.
It's beyond impressive. You're going to see them for sure really, really push each other out here. I see Robert Brobst did not end up starting in first. What was the official ruling on that?
Got an EOL just because it was a draft lap, but I told him, I said, I know you're going to end up front somehow, some way, but I trust him. That's why we weren't
Yes,
very
indeed. We
hesitant
have
to give him the EOL.
somebody already below the
Ooh!
apron. Getting a little loose, Damian Marquez. Let's take a look and see where
Yeah.
he's at. He's spinning in. He's into the wall. That's a awful start for him. Single car collision. Looks like we'll stay green here as he tries to get himself out. Probably going to have to go ahead and get a fasty here.
Yeah,
Tough
looks like he
break.
just clipped the apron. I'm going back to look at it right now. Yeah, looks like he just tapped the apron, got a little bit too close to the sun, and it burned him a little bit.
I got to tell you, something that, you know, viewers, if you haven't had the chance to run sim racing or run anything in iRacing, something you might not understand is that when we talk about how loose these cars are, they are loose, so loose. In fact, that, I mean, if somebody gets up right on you just enough way, it's going to send you a little bit squirrely, and if you do not have the recovery ability, unfortunately, that might end up ruining your night. So you got to be real tight, real conservative with these cars. Probably run a pretty good steering ratio to really get good reaction. There's a whole lot you end up having to do here.
Yeah, definitely. And then this is how my specialty comes into effect. So these cars, they have a very, very short rear bumper, as well as a very, very sloped front end. So it just picks up those cars like a little wedge. And once you lift those rear tires off the ground, these cars are just a handful. They get so loose. So if you can find a good drafting partner that can give you the nice nudges on the perfect parts of the track and someone that you do trust as well, then you are going to show. Even at restrictor plate races, you will end up at the front.
And it looks like we have two distinct packs forming here. We've got our front runners. It looks like approximately 15 or so. And maybe, yeah, approximately the top 15 here running, and then the rest of the field running in that second pack as they're all trying to bunch up. Best thing about super speedway racing is all of that drafting. Even if you are, Damian Marquez got to stay below that line as he tries to watch his way out.
Good job on Damien.
Manages to stay out of it, emerges in. He's going to be just in between these two packs as he comes in. Very clean merge. Love to see it.
Definitely, and I mean, he could be that that pull for that second group to get back up front.
And Charles Broderick getting a little wide on the outside there. Didn't tap the wall. He's definitely made some adjustments this race. I was talking to him that have definitely made him feel a little bit stronger in what he's doing. So, you know, hopefully we'll see that. He's running pretty competitively here. Looked like he had a really good start. I know he was having trouble with restarts on the practice race, and he really put in the effort to try to get something good on those restarts so that he didn't end up choking people up. And it looked like they had a pretty good start on that. So we'll take a look here as well, going back to this backpack. It looks like it's led by Tyler DeTalent, followed up by Nick Seraph, Robert Brobst, Blake Hoppy, Jackson Samsel, Logan Monteith. Very interesting name to see in the back there. I guess he just got caught up in the pack, but as we were saying, that doesn't always mean anything. These packs will eventually merge back together.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know they're not worried. It's a long race, and Logan was telling me beforehand that he wants his team to work together and just stay in the back, wait for that big one to happen, so then they can play some strategy, get right back up front, take all the boys with them, and I don't think there's anything to worry about, especially this early on in a plate race. The only thing is Nick's getting a little feisty. It looks like he's shoving the 29 car into the corner, which is a very, very ballsy move. He's going to have to limit that just a little bit, try and be careful. He's all over that back bumper. That's pretty scary to be in Tyler's situation. I've had it before last season when we did the Clash. It's very scary, but I know Tyler's a good driver, and I mean, I guess if you're named Tyler, that you're a solid driver, right?
Yeah, that's got to be true, right? As we ride on board here with Nick Seraph of Backmarkers Racing. Again, finished 16th in the Season 1 point standings. He had a couple races he ended up having to miss. But otherwise, I mean, I'm not really super familiar, but I know he also runs dirt. How's he running that field?
Last night, he looked pretty solid for a little bit. He was running up front in the heat races with me, but unfortunately had a wheel issue. He's actually borrowing a rig right now from some guy he bought off eBay.
Well, and we have a little bit of a shakeup here at the front of the pack. Looks like Dustin Bally ended up somehow on the top line now, and Jacob Bradley ended up shuffling down. Jacob Bradley is now being supported by Steve Loving, while Michael Gudger is pushing Dustin Bally out. So, I mean, this is very interesting to see how that shook up. Looks like they just swapped places entirely.
I'm going to go back and look at that real quick because it looks like the 21 has a little bit of damage to the left side, which is very interesting. Not something that you would expect.
Not something you want to hear as a car owner either.
Right.
As we're on board here, Michael Gudger. Season 1 points finish of 3rd place. Won the practice race that we just had on Tuesday as we prepared for this session.
Yeah, like I said, I can't not talk good about the kid. He was our most improved driver from last season. You'll hear me beat that to the end of the world because of the fact that I totally believe it. It looks like Charles dropped off the pack too, so he's going into the second group here. I just heard Jackson over the radio comms say, "We're going to come save you, Charles," so help is on the way.
Well, that's good to see. I don't see much damage on the right side, so he might have just gotten out. He might have got shaken a little loose and lost that draft line, so... You know, it might be a little more comfortable riding back here. I know Jackson was saying earlier when he was kind of, talking strategy, he said, you know, a lot of us back here for Backmarkers Racing, we want to stay towards the back when we start out here. Things are going to get real hairy. It's going to get kind of crazy. It might be better just to kind of hang back and play a smart strategy as we look back even further than that. And we have that team of Abraham Kalufa, Ed Salz, and Blake Kelly running 3 behind each other, back to back to back, in beautiful paint schemes, I might add. Just absolutely phenomenal.
The uniformity is brilliant. I love those cars. I love the 80s number with the gold and black. It looks very, very good together. I'm a big proponent on having the number that looks good on the car. Like that 27 on that Roby machine, beautiful.
And you got to imagine they're playing a smart game here. If they're all running together, they're saving well on tires, they're saving well on gas. And a good portion of what Racers Anonymous Motorsports, I imagine, right now is just trying to get a feel for everything and really introduce themselves here. So, you know, very incredible to see a team like that already running so close together as we run back to the front of the field here. And not much has changed.
Yeah, they're just 2 by 2, and they're just duking it out. They're changing lead every single lap, it looks like. But it looks like Dustin Bali will lead that lap, and Michael Gudger's giving him a big shove. He's almost clear of Jacob Bradley.
And you
but going into the corner,
Jacob Bradley, again, what a heater he laid down in qualifying. I mean, he might have had a slight air assist, but I don't think it was what really put him down there. He managed to get a full 0.04 of a second faster off of Dustin Bali, which is just very impressive to take that first place run. So you can imagine, as long as he's got Steve Loving in his mirror and he's running alongside, he knows that tired car. He ran beside it. He ran with it in that practice race we just had on Tuesday. He knows, you know, I just got to keep a nose on him at all times so that he can't drop down. If he can't drop down, I'm going to have him on the fence the entire run.
Definitely. That is a good strategy to have, and it looks like he is being a thorn in that 21 car side. I know he wants to get down there and at least be close to Steve. But, man, that 50 car is just holding strong. But, you know what? Let's talk about our rookies real quick. So, Dustin Bali and Jacob Bradley, obviously being the leaders of both packs. And then we have Bradley Powers. I think that's Jacob Bradley's teammate, running in 6th. Brady Powers, sorry.
Yes, indeed.
Running in 6th right now. And then we have Kyle Rasinko, who he is somebody that I raced with as well as Sean and a couple others in a Car Tomorrow League. We brought him over. And then Tanner Prater and Jay Bast, as well as Brian Brobst, up inside the top 10. That's almost over half rookies inside the top 10.
I mean, we saw it in that practice race. We can't stop talking about it. If you didn't watch it, it's available here on Extreme Sim TV. Go back and watch that practice race. It was not something to have missed. It definitely was an indicator for what we were going to see in this one. I can definitely say we've already seen fewer caution incidences, which is very impressive. I know we're only on lap 13. It's not saying a lot, but... You know, I said people were going to drive a little more cautiously, probably try to get more for the long run before trying to make any big passes or big moves. Kyle Rasinko, of course, here, so new, in fact, that he doesn't have any information that I was able to put down on a title card for him, on a driver info card.
Ooh, they're getting a little dicey in the tri-oval. That 55 looking a little bit loose. Brady Powers, he was squirrely, but got it all settled out, and they're back to 2 by 2, and they're going to be 2 by 2 by 2. for quite a ways back.
Something really interesting to see as we're coming into turn 1 there. It looks like somebody's on the back straightaway. Who was that? Let's see as we come up.
That is our boy Damien.
Damien Marquez, he's having a rough night. Again, keeping it off the track, letting that pack run by, that's a great thing. You know, you can only be happy to see something like that. You know, if you're having a rough race, trying to be mindful of everybody around you and not end up ruining somebody's time, that's a great thing we love to see here at Backmarkers. But, I mean, to get back kind of onto that subject, you know, when we're looking at these rookies and what they're bringing to the table, I mean, it's hard to call some of them rookies, of course. I mean, they've definitely run in other series. I'm sure most of them, it's probably not their first ARCA starts, but they're rookies to the Backmarkers League, and that is what matters to us.
Yeah, definitely. To us, they are the yellow stripe people, the people that all the other veteran drivers are going to try and bully and push around a little bit, show them who's boss. But man, it looks like the rookies are dominating. So I did the math.
Oh, close to being cleared there, but he didn't take the chance. It was good on him because that 50 car was real close. Clearing that gap, that could have been bad news. It looked like he thought about it for a minute, but he just didn't quite have the clearance that he wanted. He might have it soon here.
Yes, indeed. But looking at the top 10, there are 7 rookies inside the top 10. The only 2 veteran drivers, and even then, you can almost be debatable with this one. Steve Loving and Michael Gudger, 2 very, very strong drivers from last season, are the only veteran drivers inside the top 10. Clifton's outside. He's just hanging around right now, not too far off, as well as Dade. But that's just, man, that's all I could say is just how good these rookies are and how much of a threat they're going to be for the driver championship, as well as such a beneficial aspect of the team championship.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're talking so much gushing about these top 4 because they have not moved or wavered since the race has started. But I mean, we look to the row right behind them, and we have Mr. Moon by himself, Sean Johnson, with an incredible hold here. Oh, what happened here? It looks like we had some go off track, and it looks like it was the Racers Anonymous Motorsports team. Let's see if we can go backwards here and take a look at what happened. Try to go back a little. It looks like there was quite a collision here. Let's see where this started. Try to get an overhead view as we take a look. It looks like Jackson gets a little high and some netcode issues, ends up sending Abraham Kalufa into the wall, but he also ended up hitting Ed Salz a little bit. Ed Salz manages to come down, and Abraham just comes down and absolutely nails Charles Broderick. Looks like Charles was able to save it, but Abraham ended up coming right back up and killing Ed Salz, his teammate, as the 85 dives off a track. Blake Kelly trying to avoid that incident, not to take out the entire team. Oh, what an unfortunate incident.
That's very unfortunate. I feel super bad for Charles. He had a good run going for him, but I mean, it's now too late. We got one faster pair for a reason, right?
Yes, indeed. And you know what? He didn't look like he got entirely killed on it, so I mean, there's a good chance he's probably going to go turn it in here as his teammate, Dustin Bawley, passes him by. He's merging back on. Imagine, I mean, if he feels like it's pretty clean, he doesn't look like he has too much damage. He might be okay to run it, especially if he didn't get a meatball flag. And so, I mean, we'll just have to see what happened there. It's unfortunate he got caught up in that. He was just on the low line and happened to be caught. I wonder how Jackson Samsel's feeling out there. I mean, he caught the 81, but it looked like a ton of netcode that sent him into Abraham Kalufa.
Yeah, just unfortunate events, and I mean, we know how iRacing is. I've netcoded into people, and you feel awful, but at the same time, you don't feel as bad knowing it wasn't 100% your fault, and it was just something out of your control's fault. But still, you always feel bad after getting into somebody and taking them out. But, I mean, like I said, one faster pair, and this track is so big that chances are they didn't even go a lap down. So they're going to be right back in this fight.
And we have a ton of people pitting off right now, led by the leader Dustin Bawley, followed by Jacob Bradley, Michael Gudger, Steve Loving, Sean Johnson, Brady Powers, Kyle Rasenko, and Tanner Prater all going, while Adam Boyle stays out. You know he wants to get those extra points. He's feeling pretty clean about it. Going to go ahead and take the opportunity now and try to get some laps led, I imagine, get a chance to be at the front, take his chances on his tires and his fuel. He must be feeling pretty good. He's got a strategy here.
Looks like it, because I was just thinking, when I went into the session, it looked like you had about 45 laps of fuel. I mean, in the draft, you'll probably have about 46, 47. So they were within the fuel window. But I wonder if he was saving up so much that he was able to squeeze out a couple, and he's hoping for another couple cautions so he could save a little bit more and not even have to pit.
Now this surprises me. Charles Broderick deciding not to pit there with the little bit of damage he had. I mean, he must feel okay if he decided not to pit there. I mean, we all know after Indianapolis last season, he's a little more conscious about these decisions, but perhaps, you know, his steering doesn't feel too off. The good thing is, you know, you only have to turn so much. He might actually be pitting here. He's kind of hugging that yellow line. He might have just ended up missing his pit opportunity, or he wasn't able to at the time, but if he doesn't go in here, that would be an interesting call, as this is a pretty open opportunity to get a pit in, and he goes down. So yeah, I think he's taking the pit here. That's a good call. Absolutely, go ahead and get that damage repaired. Get some fresh tires. Get some you know, gas in that thing, and you know, try to get it in for the long haul. Do you think that pitting here on lap 19, lap 20? Do you imagine that there will have to be another stop at this point? About when do you think that stop will have to occur?
Sorry, what was that? You cut out a little bit.
When do you imagine this next stop will have to occur if they are indeed going, you know, lap 19 here? Charles Broderick actually decides not to pit. We're gonna have to see how that shakes out for him.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. I'm going to go into the cockpit cam, and it looks like his wheels pointed straight. So that's a good sign right there.
Yeah, let's take a look at that cockpit cam. That's a brilliant idea. Take a look at him here. I mean, he's riding out that yellow line. I guess iRacing is shuffling him back to position. Either that, or he is going to try to pit it here, which is, I mean, I believe we're already at a point of where we've chosen. We'll have to see what he's doing here. He might just be biding his time if he knew that, you know, he had a kind of a bad car at the time, but he doesn't really feel like he's in a position where he needs to pit. Maybe just ride it out, you know, along apron, or try to stay out of people's way for a little while. Take a couple laps lost if you have to. That's sometimes a good strategy if you're just trying to get points on the board and outlast other people. So, I mean,
right.
I mean, with the luck somebody like Damian Marquez is having, it's not a terrible strategy.
No, definitely not. But I'm also wondering too if he was on the apron to save a little bit more fuel. This could turn into a fuel mileage race.
Yes, indeed. As we come around here the final time, as we're about to go green, and things have shaken up drastically off of that pit run. Not super drastically, but we do have Adam Boyle shuffled all the way up front here into first place, followed by Michael Gudger, Steve Loving, Sean Johnson, Connor Morse. Very interesting to see him shaken up all the way up at the top here. And followed by Dustin Bawley, Dave Grajewski, Peter Stewart, Kyle Rasinko, and Brian Brobst as we come around to the green flag, starting once again.
As well as Steve. So those two are going to be hooked up really, really early, it looks like. And Mr. Moonpie, he's going to be shoving that 64, hoping to get a good run down the back straightaway. But I don't know, man. Steve is giving a big push to that 22 right now, and those two are looking strong.
And Adam Boyles, of course, you know, looking to get those extra points for getting some laps led. I mean, this is definitely something that's going to help him in Impact Racing in general. Steve looking to that outside line already. He's jumping in front of Michael Gudger, his teammate, getting ready to take that ride on the outside as Connor Morris of Impact Racing gets behind his team owner, and they all line up there as Dave Grajewski, you also see right behind him. And it looks like we have a team battle going on for first.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if Steve got shoved out of the way by the 56. 56 got a little too egregious on a push, and I know him and Adam Boyles work together a lot in a different league. So I wonder between those two, they are just going to be comfortable pushing each other, and vice versa, getting pushed by Connor Morse.
Connor Morse getting a little loosey-goosey there in the turn, but looks like we're running okay.
Yeah, it looks like we have another caution.
Yes, we do. What has caused this caution?
I do not know. We're going to be looking here.
You're going to have to tell me, because I got nothing on my end. Where's the report?
I have nothing. Oh, looks like Jackson. Oh, well, it looks like Damien got into Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Jackson's car is destroyed. Both of his front tires are barely touching the ground. They are tucked up inside the car. The suspension's destroyed. He's coasting it out towards the inside of the track. He just hit the inside wall.
Let's
He's
see
trying to
if we
limp it back
can
to the pit road.
go back here and see what happened. It looks
Oh,
like
that
he
is
came in.
unfortunate.
Okay. So as we see here, he's going for an inside pass, sends it 3 wide in between Tyler DeTalent and Damian Marquez coming in into turn 1. And of course, you know, that's going to be something you got to watch out for doing when you're running in the back marker pack at that point. Some people just aren't able to really, you know, have that sense of awareness, check things. And it looks like he clips in. I can't tell if someone went up or someone came down at this point, but he spins Damian Marquez. Damian thankfully slides right in front of Tyler DeTalent, and it doesn't look like makes contact, but then he ends up catching Jackson on the way back up, trying to save it as Jackson was in the wall. It's hard to say what happened there. It looks like they both caught each other in a racing incident and both ended up destroying each other's cars. It's not what you want to see.
Definitely not.
Jackson Samsel's got himself in the pits. He's missing a front left tire. That's a very interesting sight to see, that Geico machine. And Adam Boyle's taking the pit, as we talked about. He was going to get out there and try to get some laps led and then turn in here. There's a very smart move on his part. That's definitely the time to go ahead and get this pit in. He led some laps. He's doing a great job already as Steve Loving files in here, followed by Connor Morse, Michael Gudger, and Dave Grajewski. As well as Sean, Mr. Moonpie Johnson, rounding out the top 5 here as we head out of our second caution on lap 24 here at the Round Here Entertainment 150 at Daytona.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to be shaken up now, because Steve now in the lead, Connor Morse there, Michael Gudger, Dave Grajewski, and Sean Johnson. They weren't new to the top 5, but they're a little bit different group than what we had for the first 20 or so laps.
I mean, the way Super Speedway racing, how everything changes so far. I mean, we talked about how that second pack would eventually make their catch-up, whether it be under green or whether it be under yellow, but I mean, it would not be surprising whatsoever if if those groups actually just swapped entirely by, lap 40. And we're looking at that back team, that backside, that back group that was running, switching places with the front group as they all kind of get shuffled around, either due to pit strategy or accidents that occur. Thankfully, it looks like most of the accidents that have occurred have either been 1-2 car incidences, mostly avoiding other people, which is a very good thing to see. It also looks like, we've had quite a bit of people stay out here. Charles Broderick's still not pitting. I guess he still feels okay. I mean, if you got to trust a driver, he hasn't been in another incident. He also managed to completely just avoid getting destroyed in that accident. So, I mean, if his car wasn't doing well, I imagine he probably would have been taken out there. As Jackson Samsel comes off pit road, hard to tell. I imagine it looked like he beat the pace car around, so he should be good to go. Looks like he is a lap down here, actually.
Yeah, but if he can keep his nose clean, and unfortunately that 57 car has been in both of the cautions, so he's been the caution magnet tonight. If he can keep his nose clean just once and get another lucky caution, he'll be right back up there and hopefully end up like Steve Loving did on Tuesday night.
Yes, indeed. And I gotta say, if I do say so myself, I'm a little partial to that Folger scheme that's running with Dave Grajewski right now. Might have something to do with the fact that I put it together for him, but it's an absolutely beautiful throwback scheme he's got there. Love seeing some classic Mark Martin representation pretty regularly out here. You can see a lot of influence from drivers in the NASCAR series, in a lot of the schemes, a lot of the moves, a lot of the attitudes that different drivers have here. I mean, why don't you tell me a little bit? I mean, you're familiar with Dade. Why don't you tell me a little bit about his runs? He's ended up at the back a lot of times, but otherwise he's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, he impressed me last season. I was very, very impressed. He and I found each other. Well, he started a super late model league, and that's how I met him. And from there on out, I've just been trying to give him tips here and there on how to get a little bit better, and it seems like he's improved quite a bit throughout the seasons that I've been with him. And he was impressive last season, that's all I can say. He had his opening showing at Phoenix, where he didn't run the best. He ran about 19th, I think it was, most of the race, and got caught up in a wreck. But after that, he started kicking on the afterburners, and Nashville Super Speedway and Nashville Fairgrounds, he was really, really solid at both of those.
As we come around to the green flag, Steve Loving, large and in charge, running out in the front of the pack where he feels most comfortable, supported by his teammate Michael Gudger. As Connor Morse is left strung out on the outside, he's going to get hung up out there. Completely
Nobody wanted to work
out.
with him.
He is falling all the way back. Looks like he's going to try to maybe catch a
Sean
side draft
closed
here.
the door. The way Sean closed the door that shows a lot. I wonder if these drivers aren't very happy with how he's been driving throughout the field or something. Maybe some underlying circumstances, but man, they shut him out. And Sean gave him no opportunity, and we are not even halfway yet.
And Dustin Bawley showing that presence of mind and that ability that he has, that raw talent, as he side drafts his way all on his own. Something Connor Morse was not able to do as he moves up all the way up there. You imagine he's trying to hope that somebody's going to jump up behind him like Dade Brzezinski there. As Connor Morse instead is going to jump out, take this opportunity to resend himself to the front and do support for Dustin Bawley. As we look at his teammate Jay Bass, still kind of middling in the just outside the top 10, trying to find his way in there, playing the long game. I mean, this is as tight as it gets right now.
Yeah, this is intense, and you can feel that intensity starting to ramp up, and that's about when the time it starts at Super Speedway races. Just about halfway into the race, and everyone's getting a little antsy. They're kind of done just hanging out in the pack. It's getting boring to them. They want to be up front, see some action.
Connor Morse getting pretty tight. Good distance on Dustin Bawley. It looks like he's really trying to give him a shot here. He gets a little loose on his outside, on his high side. It's probably just because he's not as comfortable as Dustin is getting real close to that inside line. Dustin will get right up on that car, especially on Steve Loving. He's got no problem rubbing doors with Steve. So, that's got to probably put Connor out of his comfort zone a little bit, getting that close for a side draft. But it looks like, it's worked for Dustin Bawley. You can imagine that it's, it's going to end up working here as he does, in fact, take the lead. Connor Morse with the support.
Wow.
And is Dustin going to end up taking that bottom lane? Does he have the opportunity to? He does not.
Ooh, wow.
He does not.
But
have
yeah,
you can close the door.
You can definitely tell who's been racing with who for a long period of time, such as Dustin and Steve. They get so close to each other. I mean, last season you saw it a lot with Steve and I. You saw it a lot with Logan and I. We will get within mere inches of each other, if not even closer, without touching each other, or sometimes even bang a little bit of doors, but we never wrecked each other, and that's how you know you got a good group, is when you could do that with people. Oh, and there's a yellow.
It looks like Kyle Racinko and Clifton Simmons have gotten into a collision of some sort. Let's go back and see what happened here. As we take a look.
I just got word from the
Marquez
intercom
also
of
crashed.
Charles. I got word from Logan Monty saying, what a save by Charles.
Wow, that took quite a bit of people. Looks like Blake Hoppy managed to save himself. Jackson as well.
Wow. If you can, go back and watch Charles save. That was an incredible save. That was a Kyle Busch-esque save.
Let's go to Charles Broderick's cam here as we go to the blimp view. Try to get an overhead here to really get the full picture of what happened. As it spins around, it looks like it's hard to tell. Maybe the 85 there just got a little too loose. Ends up catching Charles, dives right underneath him. Impressive as Kyle Racinko gets absolutely eaten, and so does Clifton Simmons. Michael Boyles gets tagged a little bit, but Charles, ends up getting spun a little bit, but he manages to keep his tires down. You know what? I'm going to say it. I guess he didn't need to pit after all. He looks like he had it figured out.
Right.
Now, what happened with Damian Marquez here? It said he also crashed. Jackson Samsel manages to get around it. He played it a little safe, didn't want to even take the chance. It looks like he tagged him a little bit on the rear end there as he was trying to get around him. It looked like somebody was trying to back up there on the way out. What an incredible, incredible wreck. I mean, wrecks are not, driver's best friend, but they are a fantastic viewing experience, that's for sure.
Definitely, and especially here, they draw in some views, but I mean, you cannot discredit the racing that we have had so far. 2x2 for what, like 7-8 rows deep?
As Connor Morse jumps off, looks like he's going to go for his pit for the first time here. Anybody else jumping off to pit? Hard to say. Looks like Nick
Doesn't
Seraph,
look like it.
Abraham
Nick Seraph?
Khalifa, Blake Hoppy Michael Boyles, of course, he got tagged a little bit. He's probably going to go get his first fasty here. And Clifton Simmons, of course, already in. I imagine he probably towed in, so he's probably going to be sitting there for a little while. And Nick Seraph already off pit road, getting ready to go, trying to regain some position there. But wow, what an incredible save by Charles Broderick! Absolutely insane ability he had. That's showing some real attention to, you know, to detail there. He's definitely showing his improvement.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that save was impressive to anybody, and not everybody can make that save. So hopefully he goes back and watches that part, because he's going to feel a little more confident after that one. And yeah, that was a really great save.
And big lug from Logan Monteith behind him, of course. I mean, Logan knows a thing or two about fantastic driving, so that's
Definitely, and
pretty good
especially
to feel
him being a
that.
dirt guy.
Oh
Yeah, him being a dirt guy sliding around, and he knows what it's like to get sideways. So when you get credit from him for a good save, you know it's a really good save. Jackson, though, getting the wave around, and he's back in the lead lap, just like we said. One lucky caution, keeps his nose out of it, and boom.
He managed to avoid a big accident there. He played it safe, as we said. He took it real slow, played it real safe as he came around, as we're on lap 31 under caution here in the Round Here Entertainment 150, presented by Round Here Entertainment. Once again, Round Here Entertainment provides a platform for local and unsigned artists to be broadcast on multiple radio stations throughout Louisiana and nationwide. Tune in and you may just find your new favorite band. Find out more at www.roundhereshow.com. Round Here Entertainment. Listen local, listen Round Here.
We have just crossed the halfway point, and we are at 29 laps to go. Almost everybody should be good on fuel, except I think Charles, because I don't think he pit yet.
Charles is going to have to take a pit. He's chosen an interesting strategy of kind of hanging in there. I wonder if he's been able to see, you know, if he's taken a look at his black box, if he's made the calculations right here. I mean, maybe his goal is just, you know what, I'll pit under green and take my chances. I mean, I definitely would have went in now, because at this halfway point, I can't imagine you need to pit again unless you got caught up in something. Take the position loss, try to work your way back up, and, you know, go ahead and get some fresh stuff in your car.
Yeah, definitely. So we are running out of time here. So next caution, if we have one, maybe we should bring somebody up in the booth.
I feel like that's a great idea. I mean, it's kind of, it's really hard to bring someone up in the booth when you got about 5 people involved in a wreck. You're never really sure who got the worst of it.
That is true. Or even just like Steve Lovin or somebody who's been running up front. Maybe Dustin Bolly, who's once again up inside the top 2.
It's just been them two this entire time. Michael Gudger too. Cannot leave Michael Gudger out. He's been riding that 3rd and 4th. He's been running behind his teammate pretty regularly. The only difference here is it looks like Jacob Bradley has made his way back up to the top 6, top 8 situation there. And you know, he was in contention for a large portion of the beginning of this race, so he was the pole sitter. So it's interesting to see how this is shaking out as people are kind of filing back to where they were as the pace car dives off and we come around to the green.
For sure, and look at Robert Brobst. He's already up in the 5th. Oh, he does not get a very good start, though. His cousin is going to be jumping on the outside of him, it looks like, seeing if one of them can clear each other.
Dave Grajewski jumps to the inside line. It looks like he's got a little bit of buyer's remorse there. He's looking now as if he wants to get back in the situation where he was behind Dustin Bolly, but I guess he's kind of firmly planted himself where he's at right now as that 11 car Brian Brobst. An impressive showing from Brian this race. Oh, a little loose there from Dade as Robert Brobst gets on his bumper there, but manages to keep it in line.
We were talking about teams earlier. Look at that team on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. All cars in a row.
That's right. The entirety of Vintage Racing. 1, 2, 3, 4, riding that bottom row, pushing each other to the front. You got to imagine that's going to look great for their pictures later. They're real excited to see that as Sean Johnson, Mr. Moonpie, jumps up top, and Peter decides he's going to switch with him. Peter Stewart.
So remember how I asked about how the family thing's going to come into effect, if they're going to try and battle each other for spots or if they're going to work together?
Well, I think we've answered
He
that
had an
question.
opportunity. Yeah, all I'm saying is Robert had an opportunity to jump up the outside. Logan into the wall.
Logan, that's not good. He holds
That
it
is
in.
a
He's
rare
all right.
mistake.
Looks like he's okay. He's filed back in. Hopefully not too much damage as he files in right in front of Jay Bast. Brady Powers. Logan's trying to get on the outside, sending it 3 wide into this turn. I wonder what's going on here. Sean Johnson getting a little high on the outside. I imagine it's probably not a block, just getting kind of loose as these cars come around. Logan really taking a chance there, trying to get back to position after that incident.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what's going through his head right now. They are still 3 wide, though. They are not holding up for each other. Sean looks like he's trying to give Logan a little bit of help, trying to leave the 55 out to dry. 99 can only go so far without giving the 32 a shove, but that's just going to upset the car too much. Let's see where Sean goes here. It looks like he's trying to pick up Logan. Those two familiar with each other, obviously. Those two race the season with each other, but here comes Tyler to Talent, looking like he's going to try and make a show and go help his teammate out as Logan grazes the wall again.
He's feeling that pressure from being 3 wide. He's not quite there. I imagine he's probably going to need to go ahead and just fall in line here as he does. Get in front of his teammate, let him push him so that he can take a little, put a little rest on that car. That car was getting beaten up on that outside.
Contact in the second row with Michael and Brian, that is. They touched a little bit going into the tri-oval, got a little squirrely, but they hold it together.
It's impressive. Again, I mean, the accidents we've seen have all been, you know, they've mostly been towards the back, but we've had a lot of clean racing here in this front pack. I mean, we've had some classic stuff you enjoy seeing in racing, as we have Dade absolutely blinking out of existence for a little while there. That's got to be horrifying to Robert Brobst. He ended up backing off a little bit. I don't blame him. That's not an incident you want to incur. You don't want to take yourself and your teammate out in that instance. Just lay back a little and throw some blocks.
That is for sure, especially when you guys are all lined up on that bottom line. You guys have such an opportunity to start squeaking by and making ample amounts team points.
I got to tell you, I am beyond thrilled with the absolute dominance we've seen from Steve Lovin and Dustin Bally here in this race.
Here comes Logan to the outside.
Logan
it makes it 3 wide. The 50.
Wide.
50 pulls up in front of him, trying to get that third lane rolling. Sean left out the dry in the middle, but let's see what happens here. Looking like an arrow's getting formed.
Oh, it's getting so tight. Oh, this is not going to end well.
Sean has almost no air on his car, so that rear end is going to be tail happy.
Tanner Prater also falls in the line here, right behind the 55 of Brady Powers, keeping this thing 3 wide. Somebody spins, it looks like.
Spinning.
I'm not sure who we just saw spin there.
They are 3 by 3 and going to be by 3 in a second. Whoa!
Logan Monty!
Day gets a little loose.
The Lowe's cars hooking up here on the outside line as we're 3 wide in tandem drafts in an ARCA car. This is unbelievable stuff. Just like that, Jacob Bradley back into the top contention, but Dustin Bally left out to dry unless Tanner Prater comes up here.
That 14 car has some really good momentum coming up through the middle of the pack right there. Oh, but the 11 shoves him up the track a little bit.
Tanner Prater having a great drive. Absolute great drive this season.
Yeah, this is impressive. We have been 3 by 3 for almost 2 laps now. Man, you can only be on the edge of your seat so much before you fall off. Man, this is crazy.
Absolutely insane. You just, the only question in your mind is when does the bubble burst? When does this go south?
Right, because at this point, with almost 20 laps to go, you got to think those egos are coming out. Everyone's thinking, I can win this race. This is my race to lose. Like, I'm trying to set this up for the end of the race, and at some point, someone's going to step a little too far, and mistakes are going to happen. It's just bound to happen, but they're 3 by 3 to the line for the lead. Dustin Bally trying to get a side draft. Dustin Bally trying to side draft off that 27 because he is familiar with him. The 50 into the wall.
Oh no, just like that, Tanner Prater, the big one, Logan Monteith flipping over. He's on his roof. Oh, and our fourth
caution. What an unfortunate event.
With a large majority of our field taken out here. The only good side to this is that most of these guys have not had to use a fast repair, so they may still be able to salvage this.
The show must go on, though. Man, that's unfortunate.
What an unbelievable wreck. Let's get back here and see exactly where this happened. Looks like we had... Sean Johnson is the origin of this incident.
Whoa! Go back and look at the 50. Look how close he gets to Robert. Inches. Misses him by inches at 185 miles per hour.
As we look here, this top line, the 50 eats the wall a little bit, checks up into Logan Monteith. That sends him straight down into Tanner Prater, and that's what does it. Sean Johnson gets clipped, and that entire top line falls in like dominoes as the 50 car does indeed come flying down, manages to miss Robert Brobst, collects Jay Bast. In that situation, Peter Stewart, a lot of cars getting caught here as we see Logan Monteith flying across his own roof. As other cars try to come in and make a save, Adam Boyles trying to avoid getting hit on the outside here. And I know we saw Charles Broderick. He had a bit of a connection issue, but he was also caught up in that. So he's not really seen in the wreck itself. Jackson Samsel advancing himself quite a few positions here, as well as the Racers Anonymous team. Well, I mean, you know, in terms of let's see if they can end up regaining some laps here at this point. Man, what an absolutely insane accident that was. Again, you know, it's really unfortunate. It's the nature of racing, but the good news is that a lot of these guys, they haven't had to use any repairs yet for their car, and if that's the case, they're going to be right back out on track fighting again. And Charles Broderick coming in for the first time. Incredible stretch he's had. No pitting until 19 to go, and only because he got caught up in this accident. Oh, man. Unbelievable
that is
stretch.
Impressive. And you know, with anybody that has used a fast repair and anybody that's had to want to get tires because they slid their tires or something like that,
Logan Monteith,
if Charles plays this right, he could gain some positions out of this even after the wreck.
He could, as he looks like he's going to go ahead and take all tires. He's probably filling up all the way on gas, too, just to top himself off for the rest of the race. And he's peeling off pit road. He's good to go. Wow, absolutely phenomenal work by everybody here. As it looks like the rest of the group here, Steve Loving, Dustin Bawley, 1, 2, 3 with Michael Gudger. That has not changed. That has been the story of this race the entire time.
Yeah, definitely. Those three have just been so strong. And then Brian Brobst having a really good run, as well as Robert Brobst starting from the back, making their way up to the front. I do wonder, now that the team's separated a little bit, I wonder if Robert is going to be working with Brian a little bit.
Why don't we get Logan Monteith in here while we're under caution and talk about what just happened there?
Now that is a good idea. Let me go get him. Hey, Logan, it's us up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
So, what happened there? Looks like you guys are ripping that 3 wide for a while, but unfortunately, to us, it looked like a 50 hit the wall and just accordion effect.
Yeah, 50 hit the wall, and I had nowhere to go. I mean, it was a risky move, but I had to do something to try to get to the front, and yeah, from guys not holding their line on the inside, I got in the wall a couple times, but it just, yeah.
We could definitely see the frustration occur when you ended up in the wall the first time. You immediately sent it 3 wide and just went for it, holding that 3 wide all the way until eventually it ended up sending these two, your car and the 50 car, all the way to the front. The two Lowe's schemes finding their way all the way up to the front, 3 wide with drafting across both sides. I mean, that's phenomenal stuff. I mean, what does that feel like to know that you're 3 wide in these ARCA cars and everybody's just drafting each other?
It takes a lot of trust. You could definitely find so much speed up there, even with just 2 cars. It's just one small mistake like that, and there's just nowhere to go.
Well, how do you feel about getting back up there to the front, though, to these next about 15 laps or so?
Not sure. May take it a little bit more easy, but I mean, it's better than going through the middle, I guess.
As I was saying, it's a good thing most of you guys in the front have ran a pretty relatively clean race. So for everybody who did get caught up, as unfortunate as it is, everybody pretty much had their fast repairs still on deck and were able to end up getting right back out on track. So that's got to at least feel pretty good.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad because I wasn't the direct cause of it, but going green here.
All right.
All right. Well, good
thank
luck.
you very much, Logan. Good luck out there. Let's see what you can do.
Okay, and the pace car down pit road taking that big left-hand dive. And Steve's going to get a solid start with Michael right behind him. Man, it looks like they were in communication, as well as Dade getting a pretty decent start. Robert, he has opportunity to stay with his cousin, or he's going to drop down low and stay with his teammate. It looks like he's staying with his cousin right now. Indecisive.
And he drops
does
down
it.
into the 4 team. This is absolute dominance. You can only respect what Vintage Racing has done here. He checks up again as Dade blinks out of existence, doesn't want to take that chance. But you gotta respect the ability for them to run back to back to back to back on that bottom lane. The entire team supporting one another, as it looks like Brian Brobst really hanging in there, liking what he's seeing alongside Dustin Bally. But again, Dustin Bally not afraid to get real up close next to Michael Gudger and Steve Loving, letting, you know, it's a little bit of loss of support off of the backside, pushing him forward, but it's a lot of side drafting momentum, which ends up pulling Brian Brobst along with him. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Robert Brobst stick with this line and just hold it out. He's probably going to get a good advanced position here.
There he goes. Yeah, there he goes. So it looked like to me that Dade was just a little too timid. Oh, Connor is apologizing.
Blake Hoppy in the wall. Might have gotten shoved up by Connor, and said it was Connor Morris.
3 wide one more time, all by himself. You can never count that guy out. Mr. Logan Monteith taking it to the front of the pack by himself. By himself.
Logan is willing to risk it all to try to get this here. He feels burned from losing on Tuesday in the practice race when he had it pretty much guaranteed.
Still going.
Oh, and Dustin Bally goes up top. He wants to run with Logan Monteith, and he leaves Brian Brobst out there as Robert ends up coming in with him. And we're going to be in another 3 wide drafting scenario. This is beyond impressive. Brian Brobst jumps up top too. It shakes Dustin Bally a little bit. He manages to keep it off the wall. And Dustin Bally trying to fall in line. Logan says no. Absolutely not happening.
The 5 car, Robert Brobst.
And just like that, things are shaken up one more time. And the Brobst boys running back-to-back here, while his team, Robert Brobst's team, Steve Loving, Michael Gudger, Dave Krajewski, still in that 1, 2, 3 down underneath. I can't help but be absolutely blown away by how this race has turned out so far.
Oh.
Logan sending it 3 wide again, trying to shove it through the middle. He is not interested in playing around. Dade almost clips him. Oh, they are playing it so dangerously here. Everybody falls in line, leaving Connor Morris on the outside. Connor eats the wall a little bit. He's going to end up losing position here. Man, what an unbelievable turn of events. Oh, wow. Connor Morris back into the wall, trying to avoid, ended up catching anybody. It's unfortunate he ends up in the wall.
Here comes Logan, though.
Logan
the 11 called.
Whoa! Right up underneath Steve Loving. Steve Loving with the throttle control of the century, managing to save that. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at that roof cam on Steve Loving, how close they are right now. This is... what a move.
Logan to the lead. Here comes the 5 of Robert Brobst pushing the 99 now. The 11 and the 99 side by side.
Resident Jimmy Johnson here really looking to get this win. He is not messing around. I have never seen him drive this aggressively in an ARCA car. I am absolutely blown away by how much he is fighting for this with 13 to go. He is not going to let this one fall out of his hands.
No, he is not. He's trying to get as far away from that 11 as possible. Let the 5 shove him a little bit. Rid that side draft so he could take the lead and drop right down to the bottom. He has no friends out here. He is just going it all for himself. He will leave anybody out to dry right now. He wants this win. All he sees is that checkered flag and no help on the way.
And Brian Brobst in behind him. Steve Loving shuffled all the way back here to 5th as Robert Brobst is getting that shove from Dustin Bally. You know Dustin is waiting for that opportunity to get himself up in front of this crowd. But also Dustin, you know, he's also well aware of what his expectations are for finishing this race based on what his team owner did tell him. So, I mean, he's just looking at, you know, as much as we want to see a top 5 finish with off-the-wall racing, he's not going to settle for that. This man wants to win.
For sure, and especially up in the season with 2... Oh, wow, look at Blake on the high side now. All by himself once again.
Blake Hoppy, Kyle Rasenko, Steve Loving, 3 wide right now. And Tanner Prater jumps outside. Looks like to support him. It might have a little bit of buyer's remorse on it. No, he's staying on the outside. As Robert Brobst is actually a little high. And just like that, we're 3 wide in the front. Dustin Bally shoves the hole. And that's it. Robert Brobst jumps up to take Blake Hoppy's run. Unbelievable
Ooh,
stuff. Logan
blocking
jumps
the
in with the
21.
block. Blocks the 21 out. Knows he has momentum. He's ahead of this 3-wide pack. Logan Monteith is definitely one of the fiercest competitors on this entire track. And he has got to have some of the best card control you've ever seen to throw moves like that.
Like that. The 11 was on his bumper, pushing him sideways, trying to get him up to that front pack again. But here comes that 21 in the familiar spot of first place. Logan's holding strong on that bottom line, though. The 5 trying to hold strong on that outside, but nobody's going with him except, the 81 thought about it.
That 81 car, I believe, is laps down. He's trying to, I imagine, kind of stay out of traffic there. I might be incorrect there. Which car is that? Yeah, it's the 81.
He's a couple laps down.
Yes, indeed. So he's probably trying not to play too much into causing incidents. I imagine he's probably not comfortable throwing it 3 wide and getting involved in another accident here. Just trying to stay with a run. But Robert shoves him. Steve Loving. That is not what you want to have happen. Shoves Tanner Prater down to Steve Loving, and this separates the top 5 from the rest of the pack. Unbelievable. 10 to go.
What a save.
And it's Dustin Bawley and Logan Monteith fighting for position, fighting to win this race. Kyle Rasenko supporting Dustin Bawley, Brian Brobst supporting Logan Monteith as we push around here. How could you not like this race?
Wow. This is incredible. What a save, though, by Steve Loving. That just shows you the car control that he has.
Yes, and he shoves up to the outside lines. Tyler DeTalent and looks like Nick Seraph are waiting eventually to find their way back in line after imagine they had to pit there. Oh, wow, Brian Brobst is right up underneath the 99
3
car.
wide to the lead one more time. 1 Brobst, 1 Bawley, and 1 Monteith. They are
as you can see here from this roof cam on the 11 car, he is getting right up underneath the 99. He's pretty comfortable pushing him like that, and Logan has that car control to handle it. And just seeing how close they all are,
wow.
This is the kind of situation that makes me squirmish behind the wheel.
The top 3 separated by 14/100ths of a second.
Robert Brobst getting kind of a rough outside line there. They're going to drop back a good bit.
Ooh, Logan getting a little bit too big of a shove in the corner, getting a little loose. Dustin Bawley is going to capitalize on that. Ooh, it looked like Dave went below the yellow line too. It looked like he was scared of something, but got back in line and didn't pass anybody, so no harm, no foul.
Everybody's pretty much maintained position. Nobody's seeming to pass anybody on the yellow line. He might have just gotten a little bit of squirrely, decided he was going to, take a little bit of a wider approach to regain himself. A couple of cars diving, getting a tire on that yellow line, trying to kind of readjust as those draft lines are pulling them around. It looks like we're falling back into 2. Unbelievable Logan Monteith. If he doesn't somehow end up winning this race, he deserves all of the praise for how he got himself to where he is after starting relatively towards the back in that back pack.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, we talked about it early on. If you're way back there, 10 seconds, 15 seconds off the pace early on, it doesn't really matter because we know this product of racing. But here comes Blake once again, giving another shot to that high side for a second. Man, look at
he doesn't like
Blake.
It. Steve Loving once again coming in there. Blake seems like he wants to go for it, but he's just a little too timid. It might not be worth it with 7 to go. Maybe just try to hold your draft line and wait to give it a shove it at one point, or wait for somebody else to make that move and support them in and see what you can do. You might end up getting yourself more into the top 5 of a finish there if you can make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. He's just setting himself up for a good finish. Whoa!
Brian Brobst, a little bit of a door touch with Dustin Bawley. Dustin Bawley, amazing car control. Brian Brobst is a little shaky. Steve Loving is getting right up behind him, and Brian is having a little bit of trouble, it looks like, hanging on to it. He's still good. No issue there. Steve Loving backs off a little bit. It's a very interesting situation. You got to imagine what's going on with Brian Brobst. He looks like he's having some trouble getting a little squirrely whenever he gets into these turns. He's
I wonder if
outside of it.
So I wonder if him having no air on the car is affecting that rear end a little bit, especially coming out on exit, because you have no pressure on that spoiler. Being in the middle of a pack, that rear end is going to be slidey around. Logan on the radio comms right now saying, the 11, you need to get a little bit closer to me right now so we can get a push up to the front and clear these guys.
5 to go here in the Round Here Entertainment 150. in the Backmarkers M99 GRAFX ARCA series, and it has been an absolutely phenomenal race. One not to miss whatsoever, that is for sure.
That is for sure. This has been an incredible plate race.
Dustin Bally once again in that really comfortable position. Kyle Racinko not afraid to follow him in there as they get tight for the side draft.
Rookie wants to win. This is his first showing, and like you said, so new. He doesn't even have any information on our sheet yet. But hey, look at that. Running in second right now, just clocked in at second.
Dustin Bally's pretty free. He could jump in front of Logan Monteith. That's his biggest competitor at this point. He looks like he's pretty favorable.
But he stays.
He likes that outside line. He feels pretty comfortable in it. Looks like he's going to just keep trying his luck. It might be better.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, coming to the line, if he's ahead of Logan Monteith every time coming to the line, it might be better. It might be better to just take your chances and see if you can get a first or second finish off of that.
Yeah, definitely.
He's
I
way
mean,
ahead
it looks
now.
like yeah, it looks like that 21. Looks like that 21 is just so comfortable with that group right there. That 24 in that 5 car. He is just trusting on them. But here comes Logan to the lead.
Logan with a block.
Oh, tried to clear himself. Almost did it.
That 21 car coming back and saying, no, sir, I do not think so. Getting in with a close side draft to get a little bit more speed off of that. And you can imagine if he sees that Logan's trying to do something like that to him, Dustin Bally might take the chance if he has the opportunity next time around. And he's clear
Logan is
to make
clear.
that drop. They've been trading it pretty heavily back and forth regularly here. Looks like Brian Brobst wasn't sure if he was a clear on the outside. It looked like he almost tried to make a move for a second before realizing Dustin Bally was there.
This has been incredible.
This is the kind of thing we've been talking about in the lead up to this season. Everybody really learned a lot about each other last season. There were some issues. We definitely were a little concerned about what a plate race would end up being with these cars, but man, have they proven us wrong. With 2 to go,
for sure,
as they come around. We got a lap car just ahead in the distance. Looks like it might be Tyler de Talent, could possibly be, or somebody back there. Might end up being the difference maker with 2 to go here. And as they come around, I mean, we're in a situation where a green-white checkered is about to be off the table at this point. And it doesn't
Dustin on the radio saying lap cars stay higher, get out of the way, so they're approaching him relatively
Blake
quickly.
Hoppy going 3 wide. This is not the move. He needs to get to the apron. Immediately, that lap car. Oh, he takes it to the apron. Great move. Great move from him. He actually takes it to pit road instead.
Very scary.
Oh,
they make a little
final lap.
White flag in the air.
And we've kept it green this entire time as we head in. Blake Hoppy's still keeping it 3 wide, trying to get south. Oh, no! Oh, no!
Home
Logan Monteith taking off with it. The field!
Logan home.
The field is gone! Logan Monteith! They're still wrecking in the background! Logan Monteith's running away from it!
Home free.
Logan Monteith avenging his loss! And the wreck that caused him to lose it. This past Tuesday at Daytona in the practice race, he's going to win here, the Season 2 opener, the Round Here Entertainment 150, Logan Monteith!
Wow. So let's hear an interesting stat real quick. There have only been 2 winners in this whole series, and Logan just captures his 2nd victory.
Unbelievable. And it's absolute dominance. It looks like Adam Boyles crosses the line here to take it, followed by Brady Powers, Blake Hoppy. Steve Loving's going to come in with a 5th. Dade Grajewski, Michael Gudger. Jackson Samsel spinning through the inside is. Him and Mr. Moonpie got together. He lost some position there. Might have. No, it looks like they finished.
Well, what an interesting top 10, though. It's something we never would have expected.
Dustin Bally with an unfortunate 14th finish here. Just unreal situation. We got to go back and take a look at this wreck before we start talking to people. There's so much happened. Let's see what we can find out. Go back as far as we can here. White flag. It looks like the first instance I have is Dade Grajewski. Let's see if that's accurate. As we take it to the blimp view to see as high as we possibly can.
Wow, what a race, though.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
you know what? We didn't give second place enough credit. We always said Adam was going to end up in there. Look
And
at
he
him,
did.
second place.
And that's what it was. Unfortunately, Logan Monteith manages to not get taken out here because of Dustin's control, but the 11 car checked up into his rear quarter panel and just absolutely sent him spinning into the rest of the field, and that was enough to do it. He does actually tag Logan Monteith just enough, but he didn't come down full force. He actually tried to correct up the track to save it, and that ends up saving Logan Monteith here as the entire field piles up. No one getting through. Michael Boyles ends up into the wall as he comes through it. Jackson Samsel piling up in behind Jay Bast, and this wreck just went on and on and on
Wow.
as Logan Monteith crossed that finish line. Everybody tried to get out of it. Looks like Tanner Prater might have been the only person not to touch somebody on the way out.
That is just incredible. What a race, man. So let's start getting people up into the booth.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look here. The race results. I think first off, we need to go ahead and talk to Dustin Bally with the way that just shook out for him.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to bring him into the booth right now. Hey, Dustin. It's us up here in the booth. You got us?
Oh, unfortunately. It was rough.
Yeah.
A tough break,
Yeah, well-
absolutely heartbreaking final moment there as you got tagged, it looks like, by the 11 car. I mean, tell us a little bit about what happened in your view.
I kind of don't know what happened. I was holding the line, thought, I'm sure you guys were watching the broadcast, and I was trying to time that move right. I talked to Rain earlier about, when to be on that outside for trying to make that last run, and I had seemed to time it just right, the number of laps before, and was set to do it again, and he just got up into me. I don't think I came down. I just was watching the replay a little bit and thought that I gave him enough room. I think he got into Logan a little bit and then shot up the track, but unfortunate. I'm heartbroken, not gonna lie, but yeah. Big thanks to the team. This was my first race with Off the Wall Racing. We had a good practice. Jay and Charles and I were working really well, and it was fun to hear their progress through the race, and they were kind of cheering me on and giving me pointers. And thanks to you, Rain, for setting this all up. But and also thanks to M99 GRAFX for putting it on, putting the show on. Around Here Entertainment for putting on this great race. I think if I erase the last lap from my memory, this could not have been better. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic and a lot of fun. But yeah, it hurts.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
sure. But all I can say is good things about you, man. We praised you up in the booth. You looked fantastic, and you look like you're going to be a threat for the whole season. So if that makes you feel any better, man, I really, really hope that you take this with good momentum and push forward with it, because you are looking fantastic, man. Like, if you erase that last lap, like you said, you are going to be a menace to the other drivers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the hope. I thought we raced pretty clean all day. There was a lot of give and take. There were a couple cars that were kind of wiggling. 11 was wiggling, and I kind of told him during the race, like, hey man, you got to hold it steady, when he was actually pushing me, and he was doing great doing that. And I think he wanted to win really badly. So we'll go to some of the slower tracks where there's not the pack racing, and try and work on getting the consistent qualifying laps, and then being able to run in the race fast, and see if we can finish better there. But thanks to you guys for putting on a great I can't wait to watch the broadcast. I watched the broadcast of the preseason Thunder probably 4 or 5 times this week, so I can't wait to see the race. And big thanks to you guys for putting on a great show and a great broadcast. And I hope to be at the front in the next one. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know how many points we got, Rain, for Off the Wall Racing, but
Well, let me tell
looks like
you,
we have.
you pulled in 14th place, and that's
Yeah.
points, and you pulled in plenty of you led a lap, you pulled in points for that, and I mean, we're really gonna have to check and see who really had the most laps led there, and see between you and Steve. I think it's a toss up at that point. So I mean, depending on that, you definitely brought at least some bonus points home for us. So we're happy here.
Yeah, I think if it was me, Steve, and Logan, we might have finished the race, but the 11 was We wanted it better or worse. So I did finish 1 spot ahead of him, so that's my consolation prize. So
There you go.
I'll take this.
Well.
This was a great experience. I'm reflecting on it. I'm real happy with the race, and we're gonna move on and have fun in the next ones.
Definitely, man. Well, thank you for joining us up here, and good run tonight, man. We can only say good things, and yeah, just thank you, man.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
And let's see
Well-
one time here. I mean, I think before we get to our top 3, we might want to go ahead and talk to the 11 if he's available right now. Brian Brobst, see what he's feeling. I mean, it looks like he did end up checking up in that situation. He was running, but he got caught up in it. So let's see what he feels.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, Brian, just up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah.
So tell us what happened that last lap there. It was getting real dicey for a while, and then everything just seemed to boil over. What happened?
That's just my mistake. I was just trying to get a little side draft, and I didn't realize it was that close to me, but that is clearly my fault. I felt bad. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, that's just plate racing, man. Plate racing's
Yep.
tough, and it's its own different beast. So going forward, though, how do you expect the rest of the season to go for you? I mean, you looked strong all night. You led a couple laps, it looked like, and now that we go to slower tracks and some definitely real talent-based tracks, how you think you stack up to the rest of the guys here?
I have no clue. Like I haven't been on iRacing in a couple months, so it was my first time back. I did street stocks last night, and my cousin Robert was like, "We're going to race at Daytona. You want to run that?" I was like, "Sure."
All right, well, good showing then. That's a pretty impressive showing.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us up here. All right, so what do you say we get Logan in here?
I think we go to our 3rd place first, honestly. Let's give Logan that spotlight as the last person we talked to tonight. Go to our 3rd place with Brady Powers.
I like the way you think. Let's bring Brady up in here. Hey, Brady, us up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Man,
Wow.
what a run tonight.
Incredible.
Yeah, honestly, I did not think I was gonna get anywhere near that.
Yeah, that was a crazy last couple laps. So what happened there in your eyes with that big last wreck?
So after the caution before this, I had like a damaged car. I could not keep up with the draft. So my teammate Jacob was pushing me, and I saw the wreck starting to happen. I was just like, I just gotta kind of full send it into here, see if I can find a lane. I got lucky. I got hit perfectly down to the apron, and then I got collected into a bunch of cars, and they kind of like grouped me straight, and I just went for it.
Yeah, it looks like I saw Sean Johnson and Michael Boyles or Connor Morris. I couldn't really tell. One of those impact cars ended up straightening you out. You got sandwiched right between them, straightened you, and just sent you on your way.
That was a perfect sandwich from Adam. I think it was Adam on the outside. He sent me forward, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a good showing. All night you were up there, it looked like. So you have a lot of speed, it seems like. So we were excited to see where you go towards the future and Atlanta next week. How you feeling for Atlanta?
I've never ran the old Atlanta. I've always ran the new Atlanta, so it's going to be kind of new for me.
Well, it should be exciting then. It's going to be a big tire battle, but, I mean, you got some good momentum coming off a podium right now. Should be pretty solid.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, anybody you want to thank before we head on out here?
Thank you, Jacob, for pushing me there at the end. He was really just keeping me with the field, and that's about it.
All right, well, thank you for joining us up here, and good run tonight, man. We look forward to seeing your name up front throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's get Adam up in here, P2.
Let's head
Hey, Adam.
to
You got us?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Adam the
What?
Bad
Oh,
Man Boyles. Coming in with
Man.
I do not know what to say.
So
the
we said
Yep.
early on, man, that you always find your way up front somehow, some way, especially at these plate tracks. And look at you now. I didn't even see your face up there, up inside the top 5 the whole race until that last lap. But like I said, you proved me right. You're always up there in the end. Tell us what happened.
Okay, so first off, literally the only time I was up front was when I didn't take fuel because I wanted to get the lap point. So that's the only time I was up front. And then like after that, I was running like 15th and didn't do anything since. So going to turn 1, literally the biggest pileup I've ever seen, bigger than the Clash. And then like I didn't know what to do, so I just let off the gas and hit the brake, start ramming into people, trying to do what I can. I think I hit about 7 cars around there, okay? And then, by the grace of God, I made it out of there. I was like, oh man, I'm 6. That's okay. And then I crossed the line. I'm like, second? What? Yeah, that is crazy. But yeah, I gotta thank the Lord. That was crazy. M99 GRAFX, you know, without them, we wouldn't be able to do this crazy series, man. That was so much fun. Obviously, I wish I was up there more, but like I knew like something crazy was gonna happen, so I just stayed in the back.
For sure, man. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again for joining us. Thank you for putting on a good show at the end, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
2
we're
years in
gonna,
a row, Adam. 2 years in a row,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, baby. Bro, that was flashbacks, bro. Oh man.
Man, that was awesome. So, with this good momentum, though, finishing P2, how do you think you stack up at Atlanta?
We'll see. We did a recruitment race there a couple weeks ago. The surface is weird because 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are a little different. So it's gonna take practice. I definitely need to be on the sim work a lot more than last year if I want to be competitive. But we got a chance. We got a chance.
I like it.
Yeah, definitely need to save tires. But it's gonna be a blast. Y'all better tune in for that because it's gonna be insane.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you again, Adam, for joining us, man. Very impressive run, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the season, my guy. You are going to be up here a lot in this podium booth. I can guarantee you that.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. And good job broadcasting. Y'all put on a great show.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
and we just try to reciprocate what you guys do, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So,
think it's time. The man of
I
the
think so
hour.
too. Let's get him up here. Let's get the boy up here. All right, Logan, the winner of Daytona Redemption from Tuesday. You got us.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I mean, yeah, I'm speechless.
Man, Daytona is such a big race and so much hype going into this season. And I brought up an interesting stat that there have only been 2 winners in the ARCA series points paying races, and you kept that alive by winning tonight. Good run though. You were up front all night. You were making some huge big boy moves, making it 3 wide by yourself too, getting to the front. So what went through your mind that last lap?
I was just waiting to get turned there. I mean, I just was waiting for it, and then I saw I got hit from the outside and somehow didn't get turned into the fence. And then I look in my mirror, and there's literally no one behind me, and I had clear sailing from there.
Yeah, I was saying in the broadcast booth, I saw you get away free. Everybody, and I mean everybody, got collected behind you. And I said, Logan's home free. And we were all just flabbergasted with how big that was. And only one car, which was you, that 99 car, slid through. Took a little bit of a shot to the right rear. And looks like you almost got turned. But what'd you have in that right rear? Keep it planted on the ground, huh?
Yeah, as soon as I saw he was coming down when he got turned, I yanked the wheel hard to the left to kind of counteract it, and it somehow saved me from getting turned in the wall.
Man, which is what an impressive run though overall. You're gonna be up here a lot, obviously, but anything else you got to say?
Not really. Thanks to I think that was it Brian that was pushing me. I know he ended up causing that last one by drifting up, but I mean,
He was pushing.
I wouldn't have won the.
I
I wasn't
Kyle
wasn't the
Rasinko.
one. Yeah, I wasn't gonna win the race without whoever was behind me. So
So you and Dustin Bally were having a huge battle there for a while. I mean, he's a rookie, but has he earned your respect?
definitely. I mean, we raced side by side, literally inches, and we never touched once.
It was for sure a show. And lastly, before we let you go, I got one more question for you. Coming off a win already, how do you feel for Atlanta?
Not great. I mean, Atlanta's not my strong track, but see how it goes and waiting for short tracks.
Yes, indeed.
Well, man, thank you for putting on a show tonight. You did fantastic. Congrats on the win. That was impressive, man.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my sponsor M99 GRAFX for sponsoring the series, and then Round Here Entertainment for sponsoring this race. I mean, this league could not function without the sponsors, so I thank them.
Absolutely.
All right, well, you heard it here. Your podium and a couple people that got a little bit of help towards their way. So, what'd you think about that, Mr. Rain?
Well, I tell you, if you wanted excitement, you got excitement. That is for sure. There's nothing quite as exciting as what we just witnessed here in the final laps of this. Just absolute insanity. I mean, I definitely don't like seeing my car end up getting sent back to 14th after running competitive for first and second. But unfortunately, plate racing happens. And, accidents, they're going to occur. People are going to make mistakes. And, we're just going to have to see what people can do to end up, bettering themselves throughout it. And it's not the end of a season for a team like Off the Wall Racing. It's not the end of the season for Backmarkers Racing. Both of us ended up finishing outside the top 5, which definitely isn't what we had in plan going in. Jackson Samsel, however, pulling in a solid 9th for you guys. So I mean, that's fantastic.
After being
to
the
see.
first 2 cautions, man, what a rebound!
Comeback.
Being a lap down.
Absolutely, but we see a lot of impact racing, vintage racing finishing 5th, 6th, and 7th with Steve Loving, Dave Grajewski, and Michael Gudger there. I mean, just phenomenal runs. I mean, like I said, if you wanted excitement, you got excitement here, and I can only imagine as these tracks get shorter, if we have a similar turnout. I mean, Tyler, we had 28 cars. Now, one of them didn't end up starting, but we had 28 cars for this field tonight.
And you know what's a little scary? Is that 2 cars were missing.
That's true. Austin Holbrook will be back here, and I know there's one other we were missing, unfortunately, this evening. Who was that?
That was Carter, sorry.
Carter Dyson.
Carter Dyson, the vacuum man.
The vacuum
He was
man.
missing tonight, and that's going to lead us to 29 cars, if possible.
29 cars. I mean, especially getting the opportunity to, have Nathan Gentry actually be able to get to start this race, the next race as well. It looks like he didn't end up getting to start this one, but, that filling out, I mean, we have 30 drivers registered under charters, so once we get a full field, can you imagine we show up to Atlanta next week with all 30 drivers ready to go?
I hope so. I hope some of these drivers want some redemption too for tonight, because some of them ran so very, very good but didn't get the finish that they deserved. But I think it's going to be a good show. I think people are going to have not a bad taste in their mouth per se, but I think that they're going to want to show what they have, their talent level at Atlanta.
Absolutely. A huge congratulations to Logan Monteith, Adam Boyles, Brady Powers, all getting that. But of course, Logan avenging what happened at the preseason Thunder race, finally earning that win that we all knew he was capable of, and taking it home for Evil Empire Motorsports. Again, locking it down to only 2 winners ever in the entirety of Backmarkers ARCA series as we finish out here in the Season 2 finale. Want to, of course, go ahead and give thanks to our sponsors here. We have, of course, Extreme Sim TV, our broadcast partner, Matthew Johnson. M99 GRAFX, the sponsor of the entire series. Thank you very much for that. And, of course, Round Here Entertainment for sponsoring us here, the Round Here Entertainment 150 at Daytona. What a phenomenal opening to the series, and I cannot wait for next Thursday. I'm already salivating to hear it's race day.
Me too, man. This is going to be such an explosive season for everybody. I feel like we have so many contenders that could win this driver championship. So I think that the hype went right back to the driver championship. I was super excited for that team championship, but man,
I mean,
I can't wait to see this battle.
It's going to be impressive. We had a lot of lead changes tonight, so I mean, let's see what ends up once we end up getting the finale here. Let's even see. I mean, I wasn't able to get the full overlay here, but I wonder if any points actually were able to update. It does not look like any championship standings were able to, but we'll have that updated for next race so we can talk about it beforehand. But again, looking at the results, Fifth place, Steve Loving, Blake Hoppy, Brady Powers, Adam Boyles, and of course your winner, Logan Monteith. A huge, huge win for him here at Daytona.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. Well, thank you for all the viewers that tuned in tonight. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did, and hope to see you all next week.
Yes, indeed. That will be, of course, at Atlanta. That is the Shark RC 125. Had to make sure I got that number right. The Shark RC 125 at Atlanta. We're going to be having that next Thursday, December 8th. Of course, every Thursday night, be ready to tune in. You know the place you need to be, Extreme Sim TV on YouTube, to watch the Backmarkers M99 GRAFX ARCA series running their races for all of the excitement all the time. Of course, I've been Rain Braun. Of course, my broadcast partner here, Tyler Barnett.
Yes, sir. Thank you for helping us out here, Brain. You've become such a crucial aspect of things, and I'm excited to see you next week.
Excited to see you guys as well. Here we are signing off. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you next week.